Hi friends, welcome to or welcome back to the channel Jane Reads. My name is Jeanette and today I am doing another author spotlight for Suspense. The author I'm doing today is Irene Hannon. Now Irene writes contemporary romance and romantic suspense in the Christian fiction genre. She was first published a number of years ago with contemporary romance. In 2009, she wrote her first romantic suspense book. And I'm going to talk about her suspense books only because those are the ones I've read all her suspense books. I have not read all her contemporary romance. She has a main series going on right now called Hope Harbor in the contemporary romance. It's currently a 12-book series with book 13 coming out next spring. But before that, she wrote a lot of other contemporary romances, and those are the ones I have not read. So we're going to focus on her suspense because that is what I've read fully. And since August is the Keep Me in Suspense readathon, I'm encouraging you to read suspense. So let's talk about an author that writes suspense. So as I said, her first suspense book was published in 2009. I first discovered her in 2014. And my first series was The Guardians of Justice, which I binged. I read 1, 2, and 3 back to back. And some of her early books that I'm going to talk about have been republished as encore editions. Now, what is an encore edition? So this is directly from her website. These are books I have reissued after my own rights reverted back to me. With older novels, I do massive edits to bring them up to my current writing level. I also have new covers designed. It's been an eye-opening experience to go back to my earlier work and see how much my writing has changed and improved over time. I write much leaner and crisper now and much less flowery. I also had a bad habit early on of changing points of view within a scene and of telling rather than showing. I still love these older stories, but I don't want current readers to be disappointed if they pick one up. As a result, I have spent lots of hours reworking these books so they better reflect my current skill level. It's been fun to give them a new life. So for some of these, I will tell you which ones have been republished and which ones have not yet been republished as encore editions. But some of them, I'd be very interested to go back and read the new version and see if my rating would change on it, because based on how she says she's changed them. Okay, now she also, all her books have been in series. They've all been 3-book series. And one of the questions on her website was, do your series books have to be read in order? And her answer was no. The story in every book begins and ends in that book. There is no hanging plot threads from book to book. The link in each series is a relationship, so siblings, friends, co-workers, or a place. The books are chronological, however, so it's fun to read them in order. So even though they don't have to be read as a series, I encourage you to read them because they do follow each other, so you may be spoiled for a relationship from the earlier book by reading the next book. So her very first series was called The Heroes of Quantico. I have read this series twice, with the most recent read being March 2005, so just last year. This series follows FBI agents. Now, I have old covers, so these books have been republished. As I mentioned, her first book was published in 2009. All 3 books were republished in 2026. And you will know because they have a new cover, and at the bottom it says Encore Edition. And that's how you'll know that's the most recent edition. Okay, so her first book was Against All Odds. This one follows an FBI hostage rescue team member, Evan Cooper, who is assigned to protect Monica Callahan, the daughter of a high-ranking diplomat. Monica's father is navigating a sensitive hostage crisis in the Middle East, making her a prime target for a retaliatory terrorist threat in the United States. Monica initially resists protection until a chilling thread makes the danger undeniable. So I gave this book 3 stars both time I read it. I just didn't hook me in, but as I said, this is one that has been republished, so I'd be very interested to reread it again to see if that changes. And then book 2 is An Eye for an Eye. This one also came out in 2009, and it says, after a traumatic accidental shooting during a tense standoff, hostage rescue team member Mark Saunders is temporarily reassigned to St. Louis to escape the media fallout. While there, Mark has a chance encounter with his first love, psychologist Emily Lawson. Their reunion is instantly shattered when a sniper opens fire on them. What? So I gave this book 4 stars. And then book 3 is In Harm's Way, which was released in 2010. It has gone through a cover change since the original. So these are the original covers. This is the second cover for it. But now there is a third cover for it with the Encore edition. And as I said, it will say Encore edition at the bottom. Okay. This one follows FBI agent Nick Bradley, who is approached by Rachel Sutton, a woman offering a strange warning about a Raggedy Ann doll. Nick is initially highly skeptical of Rachel's story and dismisses her claim until the details she provided suddenly tie into a real-life abducted child case. What? So I gave this book 4 stars both times I read it. Okay, her second series is the Guardians of Justice series, and this is the series that introduced me to her. And so this one follows siblings, so 2 brother and 1 sister. Book 1 is Fatal Judgment. So we are following, this was released in 2011, and we are following U.S. Marshal Jake Taylor, who must protect federal judge Liz Michaels. Jake resents Liz because he believes she drove his best friend, her late husband, to suicide. What? So I gave this one 4 stars. This series has not been republished yet, so this is the only edition that is out. Then book 2 is Deadly Pursuit, which also released in 2011. And we are following the sister of Jake, who is a social worker. Her name is Allison. She protects children, and she becomes the target of a violent stalker. Seeking help, she turns to her police detective brother, Cole, and his new partner, ex-Navy SEAL Detective Mitch Morgan. So she has become the target of a stalker. I gave this one 4 stars as well. And then book 3 is Lethal Legacy. And this one we are following Kelly Warden, who refuses to accept the official police ruling that her father's death was a suicide, believing instead that he was murdered. Detective Cole Taylor initially doubts her claims. However, when he digs deeper into a long-buried secret connecting Kelly to the case, the danger escalates and someone tries to silence her. So this one is following Cole, who makes an appearance in this one because it is Allison's brother. So that's kind of how the series connects to each other. So I gave this one 3 stars. I didn't enjoy it as much as the previous 2, but that did not stop me from reading Irene Hannon's books. Okay, her third series is called Private Justice. Again, this series has not been republished yet, so this is the only editions that are out. And the book 1 is Vanished. Oh, wait, what is this series about? So this series focuses on 3 justice seekers who previously got burned by playing by the rules and now use their skills outside of traditional channels to solve deadly murders. So book 1 is Vanished. It was released in 2013. And while driving down a dark, stormy country road, reporter Maura Harrison strikes a pedestrian with her car and crashes. A passerby promises to call emergency services, but Moira passed out. When she wakes up, the victim, the passerby, and any evidence are completely gone. The police do not believe her story, forcing her to hire Cal Burke, a former homicide detective turned private investigator. So she hits somebody, and when she goes for help, a passerby stops to help her, and then she passes out. When she wakes up, there's no evidence of anything happening. What? So yeah, I gave this one 4 stars. I was immediately hooked with the story. Okay, book 2 is called Trapped, which also came out in 2013. And we are following librarian Laura Griffith is frantic when her 16-year-old half-sister disappears on a frenzy winter day, leaving behind only a brief runaway note. Refusing to believe her sister simply ran away, Laura recruits James Devon, a former ATF agent turned private investigator, to help search. I only gave this one 3 stars, but I would be interested in rereading it if she does encore editions of this series. And then book 3 is Deceived. This one came out in 2014. We're following Kate Marshall has been consumed by grief for 3 years, following the tragic accident that supposedly killed her husband and young son. Her world is upended when she spots a young boy in public who she is entirely convinced is her supposedly deceased son. She hires private investigator Connor Sullivan to dig into the old case. So she sees somebody that looks exactly like her son. What? Yeah. So I liked it, but I still only gave it 3 stars because I just wasn't fully here for it. So we will see. As I said, if she re-releases this series, I will definitely give it a try. Okay, series number 4 is The Men of Valor. This follows the 3 McGregor brothers. Each brother has a background in elite special forces, and the books follow them as they transition into new roles. So book 1 is Buried Secrets. This was released in 2015. This series has been re-released as an encore edition in 2026. So again, they have different covers than what I'm showing you. So book 1 follows former Navy SEAL turned detective Mac McGregor steps in to help Lisa Grant, the new police chief of a small town, after a construction crew unearths an unmarked grave containing a human skeleton. Lisa hoped for a peaceful, quiet life after working 7 years as a Chicago homicide detective. Instead, she and Mac find themselves targeted by a desperate killer who will stop at nothing to keep the identity of the victim a secret. So I gave this book 5 stars. I absolutely loved it, and I highly recommend this one. Okay, then book 2 is Thin Ice, which came out in 2016. And it follows grief-stricken Christy Reed is trying to rebuild her life after losing her parents in a car crash and her sister Ginny to a house fire. Her world flips when she receives a letter written in her sister's handwriting claiming she is still alive. FBI Special Agent Lance McGregor, the middle brother and a former Delta Force operator, is assigned to investigate the strange claim. He must figure out if Ginny is alive, and if she is, who is actually buried in her grave, and if Chrissy is being used as a pawn. What is going on? So yeah, I gave this one 4 stars. Again, I recommend it. And the third book is called Tangled Webs. This also came out in 2016. And it says the youngest brother, Finn McGregor, is a former Army Ranger seeking a quiet place to heal from the disastrous, injury-causing mission in the Middle East. His peaceful retreat is shattered when he notices his neighbor, Dana Lewis, is being targeted by a series of malicious, threatening pranks. Though Dana wants to handle the situation alone, Finn's protective instincts kick in as the danger then turns life-threatening. So I gave this one 4 stars as well. Okay, the next series is Code of Honor. I don't have any copies to show you here, but this series has been re-released as encore editions, so I will put the new covers up here for each book so that you can see which covers you should be looking for. This series follows 3 childhood friends who have nicknamed themselves when they were children the Treehouse Gang. Okay, so book 1 is called Dangerous Illusions. It was first released in 2017. The encore edition came out in 2026. And it follows Trish Bailey is overwhelmed by a demanding career and caring for her ailing mother. Her life spirals out of control when a series of bizarre memory lapses ends in a tragic death, placing her under intense police investigation. Detective Colin Finn is assigned to the case. While the physical evidence points to a terrible mistake by Trish, his instincts tell him that someone is deliberately manipulating her reality. What? Why? What's going on? I gave this book 5 stars. I absolutely loved it. Then book 2 is Hidden Peril. Again, it originally came out in 2018 and has been re-released this year. And it says, Kristen Dane, the owner of a successful fair trade shop, finds herself in a nightmare when a routine delivery arrives containing a deadly biochemical substance instead of her expected inventory. She crosses paths with Detective Luke Carter, who realizes the toxic package is part of a massive, impending domestic terror plot designed to cause mass casualties. How did that end up in her Kristen's shop? Like what? Another 5-star read for me. And then book 3 is Dark Ambitions. Originally came out in 2019, and we are following former Army Night Stalker Rick Jordan runs a winter camp for foster children. His peaceful off-season is shattered when he discovers a trail of blood on the property, left behind by a visitor who is soon found dead. Local authorities rule the death an accident, but a cryptic clue left behind convinces Rick otherwise. He recruits private investigator Heather Shields to help him make sense of the evidence. What? Now, this one didn't hook me as much as books 1 and 2 in the series, but I still gave it 4 stars. The next series is the Triple Threat series. This follows the 3 Riley sisters. I actually binged this series and I did a full series review shortly after binging this series. So I will link that video below if you want to watch it to see my full thoughts on all 3 books in this series. So book 1 is Point of Danger. This came out in 2020. And we are following radio talk show host Eve Riley, who is accustomed to intense feedback on her on-air commentary. Her world shifts when a suspicious package arrives at her home. Incidents escalate from hostile words to a menacing stalker determined to silence her voice permanently. Police Detective Brett steps in to investigate, convinced the threat is highly personal. I gave this book 5 stars. You probably heard me recommend it quite a bit because I absolutely love this book. And then book 2 is Labyrinth of Lies. This one came out in 2021. When a high-profile businessman's daughter vanishes from an exclusive girls' boarding school, police detective Kate Riley is sent undercover as an instructor. Kate quickly learns that Ivy Hill Academy holds deep, lethal secrets beneath its wealthy facade. She is shocked to discover that her first love, Zeke, is also working at the school on a separate, hidden agenda. What? So I gave this book 4 stars and I would recommend it. And I do recommend it. So then book 3 is Body of Evidence. This one came out in 2022 and it follows a forensic pathologist, Dr. Grace Riley, who notices a suspicious pattern while performing autopsies on several elderly residents in rural Missouri. Though their deaths initially appear entirely natural, Grace suspects foul play and brings her findings to a highly skeptical sheriff, Nate Cox. Are they? Are they suspicious, or are they just natural? You'll have to read it to find out. I gave this book 5 stars. I was so invested in the story. Okay, and then her most recent series is Undaunted Courage. This one follows 3 foster siblings, Bree, Jack, and Kara Tucker. They were raised together by the same adoptive family. Though they're not bound by blood, they do share an unbreakable bond. So book 1 is Into the Fire. It came out in 2023. And it follows former smoke jumper turned arson investigator Bree Tucker, who investigates a mysterious fire that claimed the life of a retired colleague. She inherits a complex puzzle of files linking several suspicious fiery deaths. A serial arsonist is determined to keep those secrets buried and starts targeting Bree to stop her investigation. She must team up with ATF Special Agent Mark Davis. Can they figure out what happened to the retired colleague? Who is after her? What is going on? 4 stars. And then book 2 is Over the Edge. It also came out in it came out in 2024. The other book came out in 2023. We are following Lindsay, who is a personal chef and a trauma survivor. She becomes the sole witness to a high-profile murder. A cunning enemy launches a relentless psychological campaign to destroy Lindsay's credibility, making her appear completely unstable. At first, police detective Jack Tucker is highly skeptical because the culprit leaves 0 evidence behind. So can he trust Lindsay or not? What is going on? Again, I gave it 4 stars. And then her most recent suspense book is Out of Time. This came out last October in 2025. And we are following historical anthropologist Kara Tucker, who takes a dream sabbatical on an isolated remote country estate in Missouri to study its vast library and century-old journals. Her peaceful research turns into a nightmare when strange, menacing incidents escalate into suspicious deaths. Someone is desperate to prevent old secrets and a hidden treasure from being unearthed. Kara partners with the local sheriff, Brad Mitchell, to piece together clues from the past. Can they figure out what is going on and stop the person behind these mysterious incidents? I give this one 5 stars. I absolutely loved it. So that is the 22 suspense books that Irene Hannon has written. My favorite series is probably her most recent series, The Undaunted Courage. I really enjoyed this series, but I also really enjoyed her Code of Honor series. Yes, because books 1 and book 2 were 5 stars. Book 3 was a 4 star. So I think those are my 2 favorite series. Well, I don't know. The Triple Threat series is also a favorite because, again, 2 5 stars and 1 4 star. So I'd almost say to read Irene Hannon from her most recent published series and work your way backwards. And look for her encore editions for sure, because I'm very intrigued to read the new updated versions of the story and see how her writing has changed, or how she's changed the writing in the story. So please tell me, have you read any of Irene Hannon's books? And if not, have I encouraged you to pick some up? Thank you very much for taking the time to watch this video today, and I would love it if you would like and subscribe to the channel and stick around for future videos. Have a great day. Bye.